everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand. It is Monday, a fresh week, hopefully a fresh win for Manchester United as we hit the weekend, but we have a lot to discuss on this Monday afternoon. Coming up on the show, Gary Neville with some very harsh comments. Gary Neville on some very harsh comments for Benjamin Sesko. Benjamin Sesko just starting off his Manchester United career, and Gary Neville already isn't impressed. Going to discuss them. Are they fair? Are they just? And what can Manchester United do to ensure that Benjamin Sesko has a positive Manchester United career and gets off on the right track and doesn't end up in the same way that Rasmus Højlund did? So early to be having these discussions, but Gary Neville, a prominent figure, a huge pundit, has come out and spoken with quite a lot of criticism around Sesko. So we're going to discuss it as Manchester United fans. Get your comments in down below and have your say. Also, I want to talk about the left wing back. This time last year, we were all absolutely desperate for a left wing back. Manchester United don't like to do business in January. It got to January and straight away we need a left wing back so badly that we went into the market for Dorgu. A year later, Dorgu isn't necessarily nailed on to be the starting left wing back, and we're still desperate for a left wing back. What do we need to do in this position? Because I think that is absolute top priority, top of the list going into January, that we have to get a left wing back. I don't think we can carry on throughout the season without ensuring that we have a quality left wing back to start in Amorim's system. Midfield is a huge one as well. Talks of Conor Gallagher on loan, but left wing back is massive for me. Also, some fresh reports coming in that Manchester United are still continuing to track Jarrad Branthwaite. Jarrad Branthwaite would be very, very expensive. Everton don't want to sell, but Spurs and Man United still in that race, going to discuss it. Also, some more bits and pieces, a little bit from Alan Pardew on the huge status that Manchester United carry and why they need to be back to their best for the Premier League. Bit on Sekou Kone as well. Could he make his Manchester United debut quite soon? And could he be preferred over Kobbie Mainoo? We'll discuss that. And also, Ten Hag could be in line for the Wolves job. I mean, how would you find that? I mean, that's just a little discussion point. It's not something we'll go back into detail. But Erik Ten Hag could be coming back to the Premier League. Gary O'Neill and Erik Ten Hag both being considered for the Wolves job. Personally, I would absolutely love to see Erik Ten Hag back in the Premier League. Don't know if it'd work, but I'd love to see him there. And imagine Ruben Amorim and Manchester United coming up against Wolves with Erik Ten Hag as manager. I think that'd be good fun. But let me know what you think in the comments as well. A lot of people talking about Diego Leon already. Well, Travis Binion has been speaking about Diego Leon, very, very big figure within Manchester United's academy setup, and they're just focused on getting Diego Leon 90 minutes in the under-21s. Never mind him playing senior football for Manchester United. Remember, I think he's just 18 years old, Diego Leon, still very young, adapting to a new country, adapting to a new league. He's taken his time in the under-21s, and by the way, Ahmad was playing games in the under-21s when he first came in, and look at Ahmad now. You can get to the first team level, Ahmad playing right wing back every week, our best right wing back, one of our best players, and start in the under-21s. Still got big hopes and dreams for Diego Leon, but Ruben Amorim has made it clear, as we've all heard over the last 24 hours, Romano dropped that statement that Amorim is planning for January and he's knocking onto the Manchester United board and he's saying, I want players for here and now. I want players that are ready to go now. Diego Leon is the future. In my opinion, Dorgu is the future. Dallow's not good enough in that position. Left wing back is a huge area that needs improvement, and it needs a player that is ready to go now. Last January, and I'll bring this up actually, let's get into the show, let's get into it, because last January, do you remember Manchester United were on the hunt for a left wing back? It was clear and obvious that we needed one. It was something that we had to go and get. Patrick Dorgu from Lecce was a name that was put out there throughout the January window, and liked the idea of him. Young, fresh, got the capabilities to work in Amorim's system, and I say it over and over again. As much as I don't think he's good enough to be a starter currently, I still think there's so much potential there. He is 20 years old. He's super young and probably is still adapting to the Premier League. I think he's got massive amounts of potential, but I don't think he's out at the elite level of what we need now as a starter. However, if you go back to last January, Manchester United were in a situation where we had a buyback clause for Álvaro Fernández. I mean, first and foremost, the fact that Erik Ten Hag, speaking of Erik Ten Hag going to Wolves, played Amrabat at left wing back over him, Malacia even. I think probably, went and got Sergio Reguilon on loan, who wasn't very good either, let's be honest, on loan, rather than playing Álvaro Fernández. The fact that we went through all these other left wing-back options and left-back options, rather than just playing the guy that came through our academy, went to the Championship for Preston North End, was it, and got Player of the Year, won awards in the Championship, won awards in our academy, then went out to Benfica, proved how good he was. We had a buyback clause right there, but Manchester United still opted to go for Patrick Dorgu over Álvaro. And now, look at what he's doing for Real Madrid. Did you see his goal at the weekend? It's not just his goal. He's playing brilliantly for them. And I'm sorry, no one can tell me, oh, but he doesn't suit Amorim's system. Oh, but he doesn't suit the Premier League. He's balling out for Real Madrid. And the fact that we never took notice of him and played him, or even thought to trigger that buyback. We already let him go once. Ten Hag didn't rate him. But then in that January, where we were looking for a left wing-back, we had a buyback of around, I think it was just under or touching on 20 million for Álvaro, and we didn't go for it. I think we completely missed the boat in that. You can't always look back to the past, of course we can't, but we need to learn from these types of mistakes. Is there someone in our academy now that can come in and challenge Patrick Dorgu, challenge Diogo Dalot? Or do we have to think outside the box? And do we appreciate the fact Diego Leon, learner driver, as Goldbridge would say, learning in the academy, not ready now. Patrick Dorgu, a bit more senior, but still a learner driver. Harry Armas is on loan at Sheffield Wednesday. Learner driver. All three of them aren't ready. Dalot has been played, but is not good enough in that position. I think we all know that. And I think the criticism on Dalot is just, it's getting to the point of toxicity. It really is. Don't get me wrong, not playing well, but to pin everything on one player, I don't like to see it, but you can't hide away from the fact he's not doing well in that position. It's such a crucial part of Amorim's system, such a crucial part. The wing-backs have so many responsibilities, huge parts of the attacking play, as you can regularly see from Ahmad. Amorim himself said he switched Dalot out for Dorgu at the weekend because Dalot had multiple opportunities to cross the ball, but he was on his weak foot. The amount of times the right wing-back and the left wing-back getting opportunities to cross it and it doesn't happen. One, because you're playing inverted, but two, because I think especially on that left-hand side, I love the Mbamad. I'm creating a name up for them already. I love the Mbeumo and Ahmad partnership, I really do. But on the left-hand side, the amount of times the ball drops to a Dorgu or a Dalot, but there's just no end product, it needs to be addressed. It really does. So instead of maybe going for that learner driver again, and we'll speak about learner drivers in a second when we talk about Benjamin Sesko, it's all well and good to have them development players, and I'm glad we've got them because you need players for the future. But Man United also need Champions League football. We need top five. And I'm not saying it's all on one position, but it's a big part of the team and the system under Amorim. And I think Manchester United need to just bite the bullet and go and sign someone who is fully proven in that position and ready to be at the top standard now, slot straight into that team. Just as Amorim has said, as Romano has literally reported, I need players for now. We need a left wing back for now. Last January, we took a bit of a risk and we went for a younger development player. He's not quite ready, in my opinion. Some of you might disagree. I'm going to go to the comments in a second. He's not quite ready, so what do? Go and get someone absolutely proven who's ready to go and be the senior player in that left wing-back spot, who Patrick Dorgu can learn from, be his understudy, and then Dalot goes to competing for that right-hand spot with Ahmad. That's how I would work it. That's how I would do it. But I think it's going slightly under the radar how important that position is in this system, and Ineos need to address it. They really do need to, because we tried to last January. A year later, we're in the exact same position where we don't have a left wing back who is at the level that is required, and we need to go and get one. Who do we go and get? Let me know in the comments. I can already feel people saying, well, when Lisandro Martinez is back, put him at left-sided centre-back and move Shaw to left wing-back. Honestly, I would pray every single day that Luke Shaw could stay fit and play there, because I think he'd be an excellent left wing back. One of the best left-footed crossers in the team, if not the best, and super physical, can drive with the ball really well. We all remember the Shawberto Carlos days. I would love it if he could stay fit. I think he'd be the absolute perfect left wing back that we would need. However, it's very different playing at left-sided centre-back and playing left wing back in this side. The left wing back is up and down that line like there's no tomorrow. It's very taxing on your body. You've got to be super, super physically fit. And Luke Shaw is fit, obviously, he's a professional footballer, but he's also got a big track record of injuries, and playing in that left wing back spot, he could very easily break down. We need someone robust, someone who isn't injury prone, someone who is ready every single week. And so as much as I love Luke Shaw to be able to play there, I don't think I could take that risk because it is so important that let's just hope Luke Shaw stays fit till the end of the season. He could very easily break down and then you're back in the same position. Let me know what you're thinking though, guys. I think it's a really, really, really big topic. I mean, we see every day on the news shows and in the media and in our community, midfield, Stiller, Conor Gallagher, Anderson, Belabor, but we're not seeing many left wing backs floating around, and that's triggering to me because we need one so badly. We need a midfielder, but we need a left wing back, and I think we need to bring it into the conversation. Tushar says, no doubt Ahmad is doing well, but we conceded those 2 goals because both of our wing backs got bullied in the box. We need 2 wing backs and not 1. Well, I think it's good to have another option. Of course it is at right wing back if you do need something a little bit different. But I think what Ahmad gives you going forward is just... it's night and day, isn't it, compared to what you get on the left-hand side. There is areas you can target Ahmad defensively, but I think I've not seen once Ahmad get bullied defensively apart from that Gibbs White header against Forest, which, by the way, a lot of players would get bullied. It's a fantastic header. Ahmad, I would like him to do better, but I don't think I've seen him get beat that many times so far this season defensively. I've seen Dalot get beat, I've seen Dorgu get beat, I've seen Ahmad get beat. Sometimes that happens. Not every footballer is perfect. Of course, you want to not get beaten, and both our wing-backs were at fault in that game against Forest. I completely get where you're coming from. But if you look at what Dalot's given you output-wise in an attacking sense, and what Dorgu's given you output in an attacking sense, and you look what Ahmad's given you, Ahmad's like having a winger pairing up with Mbeumo. It's fantastic. Look at the volley he scored. Look at the combinations he can have with Mbeumo when he's on it as well. I think it's worth having Ahmad there, and if he just makes some improvements to his game, he can get better in them situations. And when you say if you want a bit more of a defensive wing back as well, Mazraoui's preferable side is the right hand side. Right back, right side is centre back, right wing back. He can compete with Ahmad, he's back fit. Dalot is better on the right, he can compete with Ahmad. The left, you literally have Dorgu and Dalot. Dalot, who's not even a left wing back, and Dorgu, who is raw and not quite at the level yet. So I think left wing back is more of a priority. Malaki Francis says we should get Dwight McNeil from Everton for left wing back. Not my choice, but everyone's allowed their opinion. Robbo is United, thank you very much for your chat in there. Great to see you back in the comments. Forciner says, Beth, what do you think of DeMarco from Inter coming in? I feel like he would work well. Has pace, physicality, good crosses on him too. Grimaldo could work too. I would love Grimaldo, but I think that's been and gone now. I don't think we'll go down that road. I think Grimaldo a couple of years ago would have been fantastic. Still a good player, but I don't think we'll go there. We've not been linked to him once. DeMarco, I would absolutely take. I would absolutely take DeMarco. We have been linked to him loosely. It's something I might ask Ben Jacobs about on Thursday, actually, because DeMarco, I think, would really suit the way that we're trying to play and is at that level that we need. So DeMarco would be one to watch. I know that Amorim was pushing for Estepinian in the summer, and he was someone that we were looking at, and he ended up obviously going to Italy. A bit injury prone, but again, the exact type of profile that Amorim needs. Someone technically good on the ball, really good in attacking sense, but a powerhouse getting up and down that left-hand side, defensively sharp as well. That's what we need. If you look at DeMarco, 27, doing really well over in Italy, and I think possesses the attributes that we're missing. So definitely something to think about, and I keep seeing him coming up in conversation as well. We have M.A. Khan says, Semenyo for left wing back, sell average Mainu. Well, we'll talk about Mainu in a second. We had Ben Jacobs on the show last week, and if you didn't catch that show, I mean, make sure you tune in every Thursday for our show with Ben Jacobs, where he gives us all the latest Manchester United updates and transfer updates. But if you didn't catch it, he said Semenyo would not be converting to left wing back. He said if he was going to move, he would preferably want to be a right winger, which is his best position at at Bournemouth. We know he can play on either side, but his predominant position is as a right winger. And I mean, although I'd love the idea of Semenyo being in that team, and if he could convert to a left wing back, that would be amazing. He's not going to. We're not going to go for Semenyo at left wing back. We've got Mbeumo and we've got Cunha now, 2 really good forwards, and as good as Semenyo's doing, I'd love him, but we need to look at the priorities, and he's not going to be a left wing back. He would come in and be another number 10, and we've got enough of them at this moment in time. As much as I'd love it. DeMarco over Grimaldo says Angus, and also just a quick one. I saw a comment before. I saw a couple saying Nuno Mendes. I would absolutely love Nuno Mendes. That's who Amorim wanted last January, by the way. That's the fullback that he put forward. Do you know when Amorim has his say? It's like how he wanted Ollie Watkins in the summer. He wanted Emi Martinez, who I'm actually glad he went with Sonny Lamans now, in hindsight. But Amorim will always put forward his choices. It's a collaborative recruitment team, collaborative with the board, with the recruitment team, with Amorim. So not everyone always gets their way, but everyone collaborates and comes to the end decision. He put forward Nuno Mendes. Obviously, it's a very tough player to go and get, especially when PSG were having an absolute unbelievable year last season. I mean, still are a very good team, but that's who he wanted. He's worked with him before. He's absolutely perfect. Nuno Mendes would change lives in this team. He would change lives. He's that good at going forward, defensively, pace, physicality, technicality. He's so good. But this is where United have to get realistic. He's playing for one of the best teams in the world, and United aren't one of the best teams in the world right now. So we've got to get up to that level to attract players like that right now. So yeah, I would love him. He'd be perfect, but you can't always get the absolute creme de la creme when United were in a position where we finished 15th last season and we're trying to work our way back into Champions League football. You've got to climb that ladder. As much as I'd love him, you've got to walk before you can run, and that's where we're at. But that's my say on the left wing back. Let me know what you guys think. I had a lot to say on that because I think it's going under the radar. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about Gary Neville and his comments on Benjamin Sesko. So I thought I'd bring it into the show because this is the United Stand, where Manchester United fan community and fans get to have their say. Remember, not only is Gary Neville a pundit and an ex-Manchester United player, he's also a Manchester United fan as well. So he's going to have strong opinions on the team, on the players, just like we all do in this community. So he said this: "The jury's out on Benjamin Sesko. He's well off it compared to other summer signings Manchester United made up front, like Cunha and Mbeumo. He looks awkward. For 80 million, you can say he's young and settling in, but you want to see a bit more." So that's what Gary Neville had to say on Benjamin Sesko. Thoughts on that? Can you really compare Benjamin Sesko to players, up to 4 years older than him with much more Premier League experience under their belts? I think it's harsh. I do think it's harsh. I understand Gary Neville's concerns. I mean, first and foremost, it wasn't 80 million. I think it was around 70 million, wasn't it, Benjamin Sesko's fee? I mean, let me get up his fee in complete Benjamin Sesko transfer fee, because I want to make sure it was 66.26 million with 7.36 million in add-ons, so just touching over 70 million pounds if he achieves his add-ons. But without add-ons, it's 66.26 million pounds. So it's not 80 million when you look at it. So it's cheaper than what he was saying. People get transfer fees wrong. It happens. It's annoying when you over egg the pudding and you kind of estimate it over, especially because it makes us look a little bit worse in that sense. But £66.26 million is what Benjamin Sesko has cost Manchester United without the add-ons. Okay, I understand some of his concerns. When he says he's awkward and well off it, I think that's a bit harsh. I think he is adapting to the Premier League and he's not as quick and as sharp as Cunha and Mbeumo right now. He's a young striker that is adapting and playing in a team that is only just finding their feet. And then when you look at the comparison to Cunha and Mbeumo, this is what I had to say on it, because although Benjamin Sesko doesn't look like the complete finished article, he has shown promising signs. He had a poor game against Nottingham Forest, but I thought Cunha had a poor game against Nottingham Forest, to be honest with you, and I still think Cunha is a top player. I thought Benjamin Sesko, when he's played, has actually shown some really promising signs. He's not actually played that many minutes. He's had a couple cameos, he's got 2 goals, And I think it was his first full 90 minutes against Nottingham Forest, if I'm not wrong. So he's not actually had a full 90 minutes up until that game, and it wasn't a good game from him. It wasn't a good game from a few players. I thought Cunha fell into the bracket where he didn't play too well in that game. I thought against Brighton, he had a couple of moments where he probably should have done better, and I think he should have scored against Brighton actually, and some of his touches look really, really clumsy. But I think that he's adjusting to the pace of the Premier League and adjusting to your teammates as well. He's a lot younger than Cunha and Mbeumo, and he's had one bad game and we're already, you know, getting onto him, a young player that's just come into Manchester United's side. I think just give him time. I think at Christmas, I said when Benjamin Sesko first came in, I'm not going to fully assess him until it gets to Christmas. Cunha and Mbeumo, I'm going to be right on them too, because I've seen them throughout the Premier League for multiple years and I know what they're capable of. They are top quality players. We knew what we were signing with Cunha and Mbeumo. They are ready now. Benjamin Sesko is coming into a new league. He's a young striker. He's not got any more experience ahead of him in that striker spot that he can learn off. And it's a new country. I'm going to give him till Christmas before I say anything really about him. I want to praise him. I want to support him, because that's what I think we should do with new players coming into the football club, especially young players with a heavy price tag on their back and a lot of pressure. However, when you walk into Manchester United, you know who you're signing for. Of course, there's expectations, but I just think give the lad a little bit of time. I think it was his first time against Nottingham Forest where I thought, that's a poor performance. That's a poor performance, to be fair. A lot of attacks broke down because of him. He didn't play very well. Before that, I've seen really good elements of his play. I've seen mixed parts of play, and I've seen a few things where I thought, oh, we could improve that. But it's been mixed up until the Nottingham Forest game, and there's been some really good things you can take away from it. So I don't want to just jump on a kid when he doesn't have a very good game for Manchester United, but it is Manchester United. You are going to be in the headlines. There is going to be a magnifying glass on you. That's the way it is, and you know that when you sign for the club. But when I saw Gary Neville's quotes earlier on today, I put a tweet out, and this is what I said, because this kind of summarises how I feel about it. Benjamin Sesko wasn't my number one choice, but I really want to get behind the player because he has the basics. He's a presence up front. I think he is good on the ball, despite the fact against Forest he didn't show that too often. He has a great attitude and he really wants to work. He's got the right behaviours, he's got the right mannerisms. I like his personality and his application. So, and we've signed him now and he's our player and we've got to get behind him. So I said this about Neville's comments on Sesko. I said, personally, I think this is a bit unfair on the player. Cunha and Mbeumo were always going to be hits and are prime examples of why we need to be going for experienced Premier League players who are entering their prime. Sesko is a development player. This move has come younger and earlier in his career than the likes of Mbeumo and Cunha, plus he's adapting to a new country and a new league. You can criticise the recruitment for going down that road and not favouring the more experienced option, but the player himself needs time. And it's the same story over and over again. Like Højlund got thrown into this as well. Young player that wanted to learn off a more experienced striker, and everything was put on his back and we didn't have anyone to help him through. Sesko, young player coming in, I actually think is at a better level than Højlund was when we brought Højlund in. I think he's got a bit more experience playing Champions League football, international football, and I think he's got a bit more about him than what Højlund had when he came in. But similar situations where it's a new league, new country, both young, both adapting, and straight away you expect him to be Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland is literally a robot. Like, you've got to allow players that adjustment time to adapt. And there's so many other situations at other clubs where players come in and they look like such a rough diamond, but they're given time, they're given patience, and they're not put under as much of a spotlight as Manchester United players are, because Manchester United is just one of the biggest clubs in the world, so you're under a spotlight immediately. And then they end up coming through it and they end up being a top Premier League player. I mean, do you think when Cunha was at Sesko's age, he was doing what he's doing now? Do you think when Mbeumo was at Sesko's age, he was doing what he's doing now? Like, they've both grown in to English football and the Premier League through quite a lot of years of experience. I mean, Mbeumo was playing in the Championship. I mean, Cunha's played in multiple different leagues at multiple different clubs, and they are a lot older than Benjamin Sesko as well. I mean, Benjamin Sesko is And this is why, by the way, I think we should be going for Premier League proven players entering the prime, which I've said multiple times before, and I wish Manchester United would do it more. Benjamin Sesko is 22 years old, right? And then if you look at Cunha, I think Cunha and Mbeumo are very similar ages. Cunha's 26, and Mbeumo is also, I think, 26, but let me check. Mbeumo is 26 as well. Both of them 26 years old, 4 years older than Benjamin Sesko. That's 4 years more of experience. And you're comparing them two players. And Mbeumo and Cunha were brought in for the now, and that's what they're delivering. We also needed a striker for the now, in my opinion, which is why at the time I said I don't think Ollie Watkins is a world beater, but I probably would go for him because he knows the Prem and he's ready for now. He's the guy to get us up to 5th. And then when we get into them Champions League spots, we then go again for the next level of striker that can take us to, competing for a title. I never thought Ollie Watkins was the end result, but I thought, at least he knows the league, at least he's Prem proven. We end up going for Sesko. He's got a great reputation throughout Europe as a young striker that's a developmental type striker. He is now, come in and he needs to learn, he needs to adapt, and he's not going to be the finished product straight away. But we need to nurture him. We need to get in potentially a more experienced striker to help him, and we need to be patient with him because he has got the capabilities and the ability to be a top striker in a couple of years' time. That is what he's got. Imagine in a couple of years' time, 24 years old, and he's at the level that we expect. He's at the top level. He's got the attributes, but patience is a virtue in football, and you do need it. And while he's working, while he's climbing up that ladder of becoming the best version of himself, you need support around him. Cunha and Mbeumo are that support because they are more experienced and at a higher level. Bruno can be that support. But when Ben Jacobs came on the show and said United, I wouldn't rule out going for Harry Kane, people kind of looked down on that. Oh, we've got Sesko. You need multiple players in each position, and I think Sesko would benefit super highly off someone coming in for 2 years like a Harry Kane or like an experienced striker and just give him a little bit of a helping hand. For example, like what Cavani was for us. Cavani, I know he was injured a lot, but what he would have taught them players in training and his movement and his experience, it's invaluable. And I think Sesko could really learn off someone like that, to be honest with you. But I think he will be a good player. And I think we need to build our players up rather than going for the next as soon as they have one bad performance at 22 years old, just adjusting and just having the first 90 minutes in the Prem. Come on now. But let me know what you think about that. Just in terms of... Oh, do you know what? Good time to tell you guys, my Christmas jumper is ready for me. It's been delivered. It's downstairs in reception and I can't wait to get it on. The next show, we're in November now, my Christmas jumper will be on. Make sure you're joining me. Link is in the description for the Christmas jumper. Go and get yours. It's a brilliant design. Can't wait to be wearing it. I've had so many people message me saying that they want to go and get one, and so make sure you go and get yours before they sell out. I can't wait to get mine on. We're in the build up to Christmas. Get in the comments as we wrap up the show. What is your favourite Christmas tradition, whether it's in the run up to Christmas, whether it's at Christmas? What is your favourite Christmas tradition? Let me know what you think. John says, John says, would you say the same? Sell Dalot, Bruno, Casemiro, Malacia, Bindé, run down the contract for Shaw, Maguire, get a new and younger players for left wing back and centre mids. It's not as cut and dry as that. I do think as much as Bruno and Casemiro are currently our best midfield partnership, they're not going to last forever and they do need to be replaced. So I would be looking for midfielders to replace them eventually. Probably, starting with next summer. Malacia, yeah, he needs to go. Bindé needs to go. Dalot, I think Dalot can be a squad player, not a starter. I think he's got the right mentality and behaviours to be a squad player, but as a starter, no, we need to find a replacement as a starter. Shaw, I think he's doing brilliantly right now, but can he stay fit? I think this year's a big question mark on him. Maguire, if he can be a leader in the dressing room and cut his wage, I wouldn't mind keeping him around. However, for the price that you're paying on his wage, I'm looking at Mark Gay and I'm looking at players of that ilk. Mark Gay is like the centre-back version of what Cunha and Mbeumo are. That's what it's like. So if Maguire was to depart and we could get someone like a Mark Gahey in, then it is an upgrade and I would take that. But I respect Maguire a lot. I still think he's got a lot to offer. And I think as a squad player, if he cut his wage and in a leader with the right mentality, I wouldn't mind keeping him. But you look at Mark Gahey, and again, let me just get up his age. That reminds me to speak about centre-backs, Jarrad Branthwaite, by the way. So Mark Gahey is 25 years of age. Bags of Premier League experience, captained Crystal Palace, England international, is just top quality. That is a Premier League centre-back entering his prime that I think is going to be one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League. He's so good. And I know Liverpool are probably going to go for him. But if we have any chance at all, he is the player that we should be going for. It ticks every box. And they're the type of players that put you in contention to battle for Premier League titles. It is. Cunha's and Mbeumo's, Gahey's, that's where we need to be. And I'm not adverse to going looking in other leagues. I'm not Premier League biased. But when there's players like that are just... With Man United, you can't afford to take any risks, really. Our signings have to work because we're so far behind. So it just cuts out the risk factor going for the likes of a Mark Gahey. Of course you can get good players from European leagues, of course you can. Like Erling Haaland's a prime example of that. There's other players that have come in, and Sloboslai, another example. But go down the Premier League proven route, it's such a seamless transition. It gives you a much better odds. Fatal the Scrub says Nestroy Irakunda from Watford FC at left wing back. He is so fast. People getting their Christmas traditions in, let me know. Christmas jumper link in the comments down below. Just quickly to kind of wrap up the show. Speaking of left-sided centre-back, I wanted to bring this in. So this is from Caught Offside. Manchester United and Tottenham are closely monitoring 23-year-old England centre-back Jarrad Branthwaite, who Everton do not want to sell and value him at around £70 million. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we are in the race for Jarrad Branthwaite, purely because I know Ineos really, really liked him originally. Do you remember that first year when Ineos had just come in and it was under Ten Hag, and we put in a couple bids for Jarrad Branthwaite, but too expensive, didn't end up doing it, ended up going for De Ligt and Euro instead. Jarrad Branthwaite, I do actually think is a good player, and I do think he's a promising young centre-back. However, injuries massively concern me. Not worth 70 mil. Max you'd pay, in my opinion, is 45, 50. Everton won't accept that, so it's not going to happen. And are we still as in that, as much in, how do I put this? Are we still as keen as we were back then now that Dan Ashworth isn't here? Dan Ashworth was very much involved at that point when we were going for Jarrad Branthwaite. Ten Hag was also still the manager. It's now Amorim, and I know it's a collaborative recruitment effort, so it wouldn't surprise me if the same names are still under deliberation and are still targets. However, I don't see Ineos paying 70 million for him. And maybe we're just being used as kind of bait in this story because we've been linked to him before. I think he's got a lot of promise, Jarrad Branthwaite. And Ben Jacobs said that we are going to go for a left-sided centre-back in the summer. He said that is going to be on the list of positions we're looking at. So don't count us out of going for a left-sided centre-back, and Jarrad Branthwaite might well be in the mix of names that we're starting to talk about. However, I don't see it happening personally, just because of how much he's going to cost, really. And, you know, if there's, I say it over and over again, if there's a player like Gahey available, that's where we should be going. But it's going to be tough. You know, there's already apparently interest from Real Madrid and Liverpool, and where United are at, it's just really hard to compete with them sort of sides. Never say never, but I like to, you know, aim for the stars, land on the moon. That's what I'd be doing. Maybe Jarrad Branthwaite is the moon that you end up landing on, but for 70 million, I think it's a bit too much. And then last but not least, I wanted to talk a little bit about Sekou Kone as well. So it's coming from Simon Stone that Sekou Kone is set to return to action after this month's international break. So Sekou Kone was brought in, big hand in it from Christopher Vivell. Young player, young centre midfielder, and he's gone into the academy, but they have high hopes for him to come into Manchester United's first team. Great that he's back from injury. I was looking at him, he's 19 years old now, so should be touching on trying to break through into the senior team if we're being honest. Around that 19-year-old mark, you would expect to be trying to push for the first team. And when we talked about this in the group chat earlier, Golbridge put in an interesting question. Could he bypass Mainoo? Mainoo is a better player, and I think Mainoo should be playing games. I love Mainoo. I don't have to go over and over and over about it. I've said it so many times before. I think he's ultra talented. I think if he leaves, I think he will show how talented he is. And I think so many United fans will be saying, why did we let this kid go? He is absolutely fantastic. I just don't think Amorim rates Mainoo for his system. I think Mainoo is perfect in midfield 3. Although he has played in the midfield 2 for England and also played really well. So I just don't get it. I don't get it from Amorim. I think Mainoo is being stifled massively. But does Amorim just not really rate his attributes? I don't know. Sometimes players, they just don't click with the coach and you don't know why. It's like Ahmad is absolutely fantastic, but Ten Hag just didn't want to use him. To be fair to Ten Hag, he got a lot of players wrong in terms of who's at the level and who's not. His recruitment was terrible. And also, you know, when you look at players he played over certain other players, Álvaro Fernández being one of them, you know, Ahmad being one of them, you know, you look at that and you think, yeah, I don't get it. But with Amorim, his talent ID seems pretty good, yet Mainoo just isn't getting a look in really at all. Sekou Kone is physical, he's good on the ball, he gets around the pitch really well. Is he someone that could be given a chance under Ruben Amorim? I think, considering we're looking for midfielders, you never know. You never know. But, I mean, you have John G in the comments saying Sekou Kone plays Casemiro's role. Sekou Kone is very interesting in terms of his player profile, and I'd be very interested to see where Ruben Amorim brings him into this team. But really good at intercepting play, getting the ball, and technically good on the ball as well, and good at striding through that midfield. So I'd like to see him try and break into the first team, and who knows what's going to happen with Kobbie Mainoo, but I'm still holding out hope that Kobbie Mainoo is going to get some game time and prove himself in this team. I think it's so unfair, the people that are saying, oh, well, he's had his chance and he's not proved it. 10 minutes off the bench is not enough time to prove your worth to this team. It's just not. You need a run of games, full games, to show it. Scholes has said it. He was the type of player that needed a run of games, full 90-minute games, to kind of get them minutes in the tank and show yourself. And I just don't think Mainoo's going to get that opportunity unless Bruno got injured, and I don't want Bruno to get injured. And I think Bruno is important to this team, but no Europe's really hurting him. So let's see how that develops. I think Mainoo has to go on loan in January for himself, and I think that might be the only way that he can prove himself to Amorim, that he can fit into this team. Let's see. Let me know what you think, guys, in the comments. Smash a like on the video if you haven't already. Just looking to see if there's any chats that I have missed here. Let me just have a little look. M. Parker says, your work ethic for someone so young is impressive. Are you talking to me, or are you talking about the players at Manchester United? Thank you if you are talking to me. I do appreciate it. John G says, Sekou Kone and Ugarte play Casemiro's role. Mainoo plays Bruno's role. If you want the youngsters to start playing and develop, you need to get rid of the seniors, though. I mean, it's about passing that baton, and it's really hard to do when we don't have that many games in the calendar because we're out of so many competitions. Paulo says, Beth, DeMarco enters the final year of his contract next season. Mention that to Ben Jacobs. Very good potential transfer. I'm definitely keeping my eye on this DeMarco deal, and I really do like the idea of him. Brian says Camavinga to replace Casemiro. I rate Camavinga very highly, but I think it'd be really hard to get him at Manchester United. I want to see us start getting linked to more left wing backs rather than midfielders, to be honest. I think we've got a good midfield list going. If we can even get 2 of the lights that we've been linked to, that'd be brilliant. But Camavinga is definitely a good player, good young player as well. And we have the chat's just gone off the screen there. My chat's completely messing up. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for all of your comments. Smash a like on the video if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Make sure you are here every single day, 10 AM, 2 PM, 8 PM, live Manchester United news shows. But before I go, I've got to tell you there is a new That's Football video live. That's Football is the place you want to be for all other football in action. Manchester United is talked about here on the United Stand, but if you want to hear about any other Premier League team or European teams, That's Football with Mark Goldbridge is the place to be. We'll be back tomorrow evening. It is Liverpool versus Real Madrid. It's going to be a cracker. Goldbridge will be doing a watch along on That's Football, so make sure you're there for that. Then on Friday night, you have Bundesliga, live match footage, live Goldbridge watching it along as well. That's where we're scouting all the up and coming new players. So many players coming over from the Bundesliga to the Premier League. It's great to go and watch that, and you actually get to watch the live match with Goldbridge giving his commentary as well. So make sure you tune into that. Also, before I go as well, I've got to tell you, me and Mors are literally just about to go and film our hot takes video. You are sending your hot takes in. It's not too late. The United Stand TV on Instagram, go and get your hot takes in. You could be featured in our video. That'll be live early tomorrow morning. Make sure you go and watch that. It's a great weekly show we've got going on, and it involves you, the community, into our show so you can have your say, and I look forward to every single week. So thank you everyone for watching. I really do appreciate all the lovely comments and all of the support. I love the community and I look forward to these shows every single day. So thank you very much. Have a lovely week, everyone, and I will see you on the next one.